The Young and the Restless. YNR, spoilers for the next 2 weeks, November 24th to December 5th, reveal that there'll be a shocking LA climax, a countdown to party chaos, and some fierce feuds that heat up. During the week of November 24th to 28th, Danny Romalotti, Michael Damian, and Christine Blair, Laura Lee Bell, will head off on their Paris honeymoon while Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, catches Daniel Romalotti Jr., Michael Graziadei, locking lips with Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks. In Los Angeles, Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, will notice a clue on the ground that could help with the search for Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, so Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, will pitch in as they work to track Noah and Sienna Bacall to Mara Braun down. Back in Genoa City, Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, will strategize with Victor Newman, Eric Braden, regarding the details of their Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, takedown plans. Victor will also keep secrets from Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, when it comes to some of the drama Nick's up against, so he'll try to make sure Thanksgiving is a happy occasion. Meanwhile, Claire Newman, Haley Aaron, may get a special request from Harrison Abbott, Redding Munsell, since she'll end up celebrating at the Abbott mansion for a bit. Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, will also accept Billy Abbott's, Jason Thompson, invitation and join the festivities, but it'll be Ashley Abbott's, Eileen Davidson, a rival that brings the most delight. Ashley will finally come home to Genoa City and catch up with all her loved ones, so that'll be great news for the Abbotts. In the midst of all the celebrating, Claire may take her chance to trash Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, to Sally and Billy. At the coffee house, Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, will have an encounter with Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, who will apparently be doing some volunteer work to feed those in need this Christmas. Kane presumably won't be able to make any real progress with Lily despite his best efforts to show off his good side. As for Lily, she'll have a lesson for the Winters family as they come together to celebrate family ties. YNR will air a repeat on Thursday, November 27th, but it'll be a fun one if you want to see when Christine and Danny first wed back in 1990. The show will also be preempted for sports coverage on Friday, November 28th, so that's something to keep in mind. Next, the week of December 1st to 5th may bring the shocking climax of the LA story, since it won't be long until Nick, Sharon, and Noah head home to Genoa City. Sienna will end up going to GC as well, while Matt Clark aka Mitch Bacall gets neutralized temporarily. Of course, Matt will eventually seek vengeance and become the source of some major Newman danger. We'll see Matt do some plotting and make his way to Genoa City for the next phase of a storyline that'll target the whole Newman family. Even if Matt gets arrested over all the drug trafficking drama, a jail cell won't stop him from targeting Sharon, Nick, and those they love most. Back with Claire, her feud with Audra will inevitably bring more curveballs. Things could get risky for them both depending on how Audra and Claire retaliate against each other. Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, will no doubt remain caught in the middle of Audra and Claire's feud, so he may grow concerned as the rivalry gets out of hand. There'll be more Abbott Communications launch party prep as well, but can Billy and Sally fight off Victor's looming attack? Victor will work on convincing Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, to have a change of heart and ditch her investment in Billy's company. However, Jill may not be as cooperative as Victor might have hoped. Regardless, Victor will count on Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, to blow up Billy's big night and use the derailed launch bash to distract Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, along with the rest of the Abbott clan. This party could turn into a media spectacle if Victor gets his way, but Sally and Billy may have a few tricks of their own in store. The Young and the Restless spoilers say the next 2 weeks will bring plenty of sneaky plans, so stay tuned for updates on all the scheming ahead. The air in Genoa City is thick with more than just summer humidity. It's crackling with the electric charge of impending chaos. Over the next 2 explosive weeks, the carefully constructed facades of Genoa City's elite will shatter as secrets detonate, alliances fracture, and a long-brewing storm finally makes landfall in the most glamorous and dangerous of settings, Los Angeles. This isn't just a storyline climax. It's a seismic event that will redefine relationships and leave a trail of shattered lives in its wake. Buckle up, because the countdown to party chaos is on, and no one is safe. Week 1. The calm before the storm, a web of lies and last chances. The first week sets the stage with the subtlety of a ticking time bomb. All eyes are on the impending launch party for Chancellor Winter's revolutionary new tech division in Los Angeles, an event meant to solidify the company's global dominance and celebrate a new era of unity. But behind the glossy invitations and corporate smiles, a viper's nest of treachery is stirring. The Newman hostage crisis reaches a boiling point. Victoria Newman's iron grip on the Newman Enterprises throne is about to be tested like never before. With Claire Grace acting as her fiercely loyal, if morally conflicted, lieutenant, Victoria believes she has outmaneuvered Nick and Sharon for good. But she has gravely underestimated the quiet desperation of her brother. Nick, backed by Sharon's strategic mind and Victor's silent, observant gaze, uncovers a financial discrepancy in Victoria's hostage acquisition that is too large to ignore. This isn't just a corporate power play anymore. It's evidence of potential fraud. Nick confronts Victoria in a board meeting that turns less professional and more like a gladiatorial arena, with Claire caught in the crossfire. The question is no longer if Victoria will fall, but how hard, and who she will take down with her. The stark aftermath, a marriage on the brink. While the Newmans war, Jack Abbott is playing a dangerous game of his own. The ghost of Alan Loron has been laid to rest, but the specter of his manipulation still haunts the Abbott mansion. Kyle, reeling from the truth about his mother's tormentor, is drowning in a maelstrom of guilt and rage. He sees his father's involvement not as a heroic rescue, but as a perpetuation of the lies that have poisoned their family for decades. Diane, desperate to protect the fragile peace she's found, finds herself trapped between a husband who saved her and a son who now resents him. A heartbreaking confrontation in the Abbott living room leads Kyle to utter words no parent ever wants to hear. "You chose her over me. You always have." This fracture sends Kyle spiraling directly into the path of a familiar temptation, setting the stage for a catastrophic mistake. Audra's endgame revealed. Audra Charles, the master manipulator who has been playing both sides of the Newman/Abbott feud, finally shows her hand. With Tucker now out of the picture and humiliated, she is no longer content being a pawn in someone else's game. She zeroes in on Kyle Abbott, seeing his vulnerability and his powerful name as the perfect ingredients for her ascent. In a series of calculated chance encounters, she offers him a sympathetic ear and a dangerously enticing proposition. Why fight for a piece of the Abbott legacy when they can build an empire of their own, outside the shadows of their families? Their flirtation ignites into a full-blown, clandestine affair, but this is no simple romance. Every whispered conversation and secret rendezvous is a move on Audra's chessboard, and Kyle is her most valuable and expendable piece. The LA preparations, a pressure cooker. As the Chancellor Winter's team finalizes plans for the LA launch, the personal tensions threaten to derail the professional triumph. Lily is a bundle of nerves, determined to prove this venture's success is independent of Daniel's past betrayals or Billy's influence. Devin, however, grows increasingly concerned about the company's financial exposure, especially as he observes the volatile dynamics between Lily, Daniel, and a scheming Heather Stevens. Billy, forever the wild card, makes a unilateral decision that sends shockwaves through the planning committee, forcing Lily to question if his rebellious spirit is an asset or a liability. Meanwhile, in the background, Nate Hastings works tirelessly to prove his loyalty is now and forever with the Chancellor Winter's family, but a ghost from his past is waiting in the wings in Los Angeles, ready to challenge his redemption arc. Week 2. The LA Inferno, secrets, betrayals, and a cliffside confrontation. The action explodes as the cast arrives in Los Angeles. The City of Angels becomes a city of demons as the luxurious party venue transforms into a battlefield where every smile is a weapon and every conversation a potential ambush. The party of the year becomes a nightmare. The Chancellor Winter's launch party is a dazzling spectacle of wealth and influence. Champagne flows, deals are brokered, and for a moment, it seems like a genuine success. But the facade crumbles with breathtaking speed. The Kyle and Audra bomb. In a move of pure, unadulterated ambition, Audra decides the time for secrets is over. During a toast, she doesn't just out her affair with Kyle. She presents it as a power couple announcement, framing their union as the foundation of a new, rival enterprise designed to compete directly with Jabot and Chancellor Winters. The room falls into a stunned silence. Jack is horrified, Diane is heartbroken, and Summer, who's been trying to hold her family together from afar, witnesses the betrayal in real time via a devastating live stream sent by a well-wisher. The Abbott name is dragged through the mud on what should have been their allies' night of triumph. The Newman war goes public. The tension between Victoria and Nick doesn't stay in the corporate suite. A furious Nick, fueled by a final, undeniable piece of evidence provided by an unlikely ally, Adam, confronts Victoria on the party's crowded terrace. The argument escalates rapidly, their voices rising above the din of the party. Victoria, cornered and reckless, lets her mask slip entirely, revealing the depth of her contempt for her siblings and her unshakable belief that she is the only true heir to Victor's empire. The entire industry elite are now witnesses to the Newman dynasty tearing itself apart in public, sending Newman stock plummeting before the markets even open. A twist of the knife. Just as Lily is trying to contain the fallout from the Abbott and Newman implosions, Heather Stevens unleashes her own vengeance. She produces fabricated documents, emails, financial transfers that implicate Daniel in a plot to steal Chancellor Winters' intellectual property to launch his own gaming company with Heather. The evidence is compelling enough to create instant, devastating doubt in Lily's mind. Daniel is blindsided, his protests falling on ears poisoned by Heather's expertly planted seeds. In a moment of public humiliation, Lily suspends him on the spot, leaving his career and reputation in tatters. The cliffside confrontation that changes everything, with the party in chaos, the drama spills out into the California night. Victoria, fleeing the humiliation of her public dressing down, retreats to a secluded, cliffside vantage point overlooking the Pacific. She is followed by Claire, who is terrified by Victoria's volatile state. What begins as a plea for reason turns into a shocking confession. Claire, overwhelmed with guilt over her role in Victoria's destructive path and terrified of the impending collapse, reveals a secret she promised to take to her grave. She knew about the financial discrepancy. She saw the red flags and ignored them out of loyalty, and now she fears they will both go to prison. Victoria's reaction is not one of gratitude, but of cold, calculated fury. She feels betrayed by the one person she thought was unquestionably on her side. A physical struggle ensues, a desperate grab for a phone, a push born of panic and rage. On the slippery, rain-slicked edge of the cliff, Claire loses her footing. Her scream is swallowed by the roar of the ocean below as she plummets over the edge, vanishing into the dark, churning water. Victoria is left alone, staring into the abyss, her hands shaking, her empire of lies literally crumbling at her feet. The cliffhanger is absolute. Is Claire dead? And if she survives, what story will she tell? Victoria Newman, the Queen of Genoa City, is now a potential murderer. The aftermath, picking up the pieces in a shattered world. As the sun rises on a traumatized Genoa City, via phone calls and frantic returns, the landscape is irrevocably changed. The Abbott family, Jack and Diane, are united in their horror, but the schism with Kyle seems absolute. Summer is on the first plane to LA, her rage at Audra and her heartbreak for her family creating a new, formidable force. The Abbott legacy is not just damaged, it has a hostile, internal enemy. The Chancellor Winters crisis. Lily's triumph has become her greatest failure. She is left to wonder if Heather played her, if Daniel was a victim, and if Billy's erratic behavior is a symptom of a deeper problem. Devin, in a shocking display of leadership, takes temporary control, vowing to audit everything and everyone. Trust is the currency that has been devalued overnight. The Newman legacy. With Victoria missing in the aftermath of the cliffside tragedy and Claire's fate unknown, Nick and Adam are thrust into an uneasy alliance to save Newman Enterprises from financial freefall. Victor, watching from the shadows, is forced to make an impossible choice: protect his favorite daughter from the consequences of her actions, or finally accept that she has become the very monster he once was. The next 2 weeks on The Young and the Restless are a masterclass in high-stakes drama. This isn't just a climax, it's a narrative earthquake whose aftershocks will be felt for months to come. Alliances have been burned to the ground, lives hang in the balance, and the very foundations of Genoa City's most powerful families have been cracked. The party is over, but the chaos has just begun. The Young and the Restless, YNR, spoilers review for Thursday, October 22nd, reveals some face-offs are set to bring plenty of tension. At Jabot, Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, is surprised to find Summer Newman, Hunter King. Kyle insists he's been worried sick, but Summer wants him to cut the act since she knows what he's been up to. Kyle is baffled on Thursday's Young and the Restless episode, but Summer's glad she got out when she did. She doesn't want to go through the same old thing with Kyle, thinking they'll be together forever when it's Lola he wants. Kyle's further perplexed over the realization that this is about Lola. Yes, Lola. Always Lola. You've never gotten over her, Summer insists. Kyle wonders if Summer has been talking to Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, but Summer argues she doesn't have to talk to anyone to see how Kyle feels. It's in his body language and the way he interacts with Lola. Summer has no doubt that Kyle's been whining to Lola about how Summer abandoned him, but Kyle pipes up that Summer did abandon him. Summer disagrees and suggests Kyle was already gone. She brings up the text the night before their wedding, but Kyle thinks she's being irrational. Summer admits to watching Kyle and Lola together at Crimson Lights, so Kyle reels over Summer spying on him. Summer thinks Kyle is being melodramatic, but Kyle argues that she reassured him she didn't have any doubts. Then he woke up alone to a note. Kyle wonders if this was some sort of test to prove he never loved Summer at all. Summer argues that if it was, Kyle failed miserably. "You broke my heart again," Summer shouts. She rants about Kyle getting back on the dating apps and Lola suggesting he was welcome to brood at the bar. Kyle realizes Summer had someone watching him, but he argues that it was all an act. He just didn't want to talk about how empty he felt. Kyle admits Lola was indeed comforting him, but it was because Dina Murdron Marla Adams passed away. Summer is taken aback and insists she's so sorry since she knows how much Kyle loved his grandma. At the Chancellor Mansion, Michael Baldwin, Christian LeBlanc, tries to pry info out of Gloria Fisher-Bardwell, Judith Chapman, regarding her work in Hollywood. Gloria suggests she's making herself indispensable and keeps things vague. Michael still wants the scoop, but Gloria argues that the major studios are always concerned about leaks. Kevin Fisher, Greg Ricard, notes that Gloria said she worked for a small boutique type of company, which is certainly different than a major studio. Gloria is offended over Kevin trying to trip her up and asks if this is an interrogation. She shuts Kevin and Michael down before opting to join Chloe Mitchell, Elizabeth Hendrickson in the park with the baby. In the park, Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, talks to Lauren Baldwin, Tracy E. Bregman, about the necklace gift he was able to give Dina. Jack's grateful for Lauren's help, but she was happy to be part of reuniting Dina with her emerald. Jack gets why Lauren was reluctant to sell him the necklace, and Lauren gets why Jack was so eager to buy it. They discuss the unconventional compromise they came up with, which involves a new journey for the teardrop of love. After Lauren recaps the necklace's history, Jack wonders if she really takes the legend seriously. Jack reflects on what that emerald meant to Dina and how she carried it with her always. He feels like it's not a story of magic, it's a story of what's in the heart. At Devin Hamilton's Brighton James penthouse, Elena Dawson, Brittany Sarpy, has her stuff packed up in a suitcase. She's standing in the living room when Devin enters. Elena planned on being gone already, but she struggled with so many memories while she was packing. Elena insists she still loves Devin so much, but he asks her to just please put her keys on the table. After Elena gazes at a framed photo, and then around the penthouse once more, she exits. Devin sits in the nearby corridor, looking distraught on the floor. At Crimson Lights, Amanda Sinclair, Miss Hale Morgan, admits to Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, that she put the puzzle pieces together and got her suspicions confirmed by Elena. Nate invites her to let him have it, but she just asks about his hand. Nate admits it's too soon to tell and wonders if that's really all Amanda has to say. Doesn't Amanda want to know how Nate could betray his cousin in the worst way possible and sleep with the woman who pulled Devin out of the darkness? Amanda insists she's in no position to judge, so she wishes Nate a full recovery and tells him goodbye. Next, Devin arrives and asks about Nate's hand injury. He hopes Nate can still be a surgeon. Nate suggests that it'll take some time, but it'll be fine. Devin mentions Elena moving out, and thought Elena would want to know. Nate wonders if Devin thought he'd find that as good news. Devin insists Nate can take the news however he'd like. Nate assumes Devin thinks Elena will move in with him now. I don't know, and I don't really care, Devin says. Nate takes the blame for what happened with Elena and urges Devin not to wreck what he has with her. Devin contends that Elena took care of that herself. Both Nate and Elena did actually. Back with Summer, she admits Dina's death doesn't change what's going on with them. Kyle defends the texts as harmless attempts to be decent to Lola. He argues that Summer's blowing everything out of proportion, but then he gets summoned to the house by Jack. Summer pushes Kyle to go since they're done here. Jack bumps into Gloria, Chloe, and Miles Fisher at the park. After gushing over the baby, Jack greets Gloria and hears about her job with a film producer in Hollywood, unless Jack has a lucrative offer at Chabot that might convince her to stay. Jack doesn't think he can compete with the glamour of Hollywood. He thinks it's the perfect place for Gloria, since it's larger than life. It is definitely a place where anything can happen, Gloria says cryptically. Later, Chloe admits she urged Kevin to cut his mom some slack, but she does feel like Gloria is holding back. Gloria argues that she's just lonely. She's longing for home and family. Devin returns to the penthouse and talks to Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, who got updates from Amanda. Lily's really worried about Devin, but he downplays how upset he is and argues that he won't let this destroy him. Lily mentions how Neil Winters, Christophe St. John, did a lot of things he regretted after he found out Devin and Hillary Curtis Hamilton, Miss Hale Morgan, got back together behind his back. Devin suggests this is nowhere near the same, since he was committed to Hillary and they were planning a life together until the accident happened. He thinks Nate and Elena just hooked up with each other. Devin is done with Elena, but he needs time to process his emotions. At the clinic, Elena looks somber as she walks in an exam room and puts a lab coat on. Nate enters soon after, so they stare at each other sadly. Elena doesn't want to talk about what happened that night, but Nate insists. He hates the pain he caused Devin, but Nate refuses to pretend he didn't want it to happen. It was everything he was feeling about Elena, everything he wanted and still wants. After making love to Elena, everything made sense to Nate in a way he never had before. Nate was finally able to admit to himself that he'd wanted Elena for a long time. Elena can't deal with this, so she rushes out the door. Meanwhile, Jack makes a speech once the Abbotts are gathered at the mansion. He wanted a way to remember their beautiful last moments with Dina in the present, so he contacted a master jeweler to separate the necklace into individual pieces, each one designed with a different family member in mind. Kyle, Ashley Abbott, Eileen Davidson, Tracy Abbott, Beth Maitland, and Abby Newman, Melissa Ordway, all marvel over the box with the new jewelry inside. Jack explains that they'll all have a piece of the teardrop of love with them and Lauren will hold on to the main stone. After Kyle steps away looking upset, Jack corners him and checks in. Kyle brings Jack up to speed on Summer's spying and how she thinks he's still in love with Lola. Kyle suggests maybe this is karma for all the times he's done things without ever having to pay for them. This time Kyle argues that he didn't do anything. Back with Devin, he finishes a business call before speaking with Amanda. She wanted to see how Devin was doing. Devin promises he's fine and has too many good things to focus on in his life. Amanda doesn't believe Devin and intends to make herself a pest. Devin doesn't think Amanda could ever be a pest and actually wants her to join him on a trip to New York. He's got a new LP artist he wants to look at and hopes Amanda will come along. At the Chancellor Mansion again, Kevin and Michael consider the possibility that they're just being jerks to Gloria. When Gloria comes in, Michael and Kevin assure they really are glad she's back. Once Gloria heads upstairs, Chloe speaks with Kevin and Michael privately. She insists they're absolutely right about Gloria, who's definitely hiding something. At the coffee house, Jack tells Lauren the jewelry was hit with the fam. He also reflects on Dina speaking to him in a dream and giving him peace. Jack feels renewed, so Lauren suggests he's starting a new chapter. She hopes that whatever or whoever that involves is magical. In the park again, on Thursday's Y&R episode, Summer flashes back to kissing Kyle on their San Francisco trip. She also remembers after Kyle split from Lola, when he told her that they knew they didn't belong together because he'd never gotten over Summer. Summer has a flashback of their double proposal and then remembers when the divorce papers were finalized. She recalls watching Kyle and Lola through the kitchen window at Society, and then when Summer planned her elopement with Kyle. Summer finally recalls the text before Kyle appears and insists this can't be how this ends for them. Kyle feels like Summer knows his heart and intends to prove she can trust him. Kyle is the man for Summer, so he feels confident they'll be together.